Call the cops on me. On a mission to be champs since they let me free. Prepare for combat, my adversaries crumble. Face it, I got a reputation for damage. Busters get ready to rumble. They lock me in a cell, have me trapped in a living hell. Though not guilty, I'm still in jail. Brother, I serve my time like a soldier. Maintain composure. My shadow boxing the fight to the death, busting boulders. Every boxer with a pair of gloves. Best give up love. Here's a man from the makings of a thug. A lethal weapon, mind sharp. And in my heart, there's a wish to shake the world with the flurry of my black fist. Now once a high school dropout, now I'm the $1 million champ. Who's the next to get knocked out? Straight out of Brooklyn and worldwide.
What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Cheesy's Box Show. As you're here, my boy JP. JP, what's up, man?
Dun, dun, dun.
We got shit to talk about. We'll get it all in. Trust me, we will. First things first, follow the show on Twitter. Cheap Seats Box, iTunes, and Stitcher Rate Review. iTunes, just only. I don't know why I keep on saying Stitcher. I got into that.
Stitcher, iPadio, it don't matter.
iTunes, rate and review. Help keep the show noticeable. So when people search boxing on iTunes, we are one of the first things that come up. Email the show. cheapseatsboxing@gmail.com. Start putting him in because starting next week we will be recording the end of year awards show. So start getting in your fighter of the year, your fight of the year, all that good stuff. A couple of topics that we do that are a little bit different and these are some of them are a little bit more difficult than others to figure out. The fighter who lost the most without actually losing a fight, kind of easy.
Right.
The fighter who gained the most without winning a fight this year usually is a little bit more difficult to get. Your prospect of the year who didn't win a title. Because it's so easy to say, well, he graduated from prospect to titleist, Joshua, Usyk, Oscar Valdez. Yeah, well, what about the ones who didn't win the title? Stuff like that. The fighter who came out of nowhere, a guy who just kind of just made himself a player, trying to think in my head here, all the usual ones, of course. Biggest clown of the year. That's our Adrian Broner special.
I think we're gonna have to change the name this year.
And a new one, most avoided fighter of 2016. So start getting those in. cheapseatsboxing@gmail.com. And just welcome to all the listeners, all the platforms, including...
It's got to be Zoom.
It's got to be Zoom. All right. So this last weekend, tons of fights. Got all kinds of shit to talk about. I think where I said the biggest fight was last week, what I deemed was Jermall Charlo versus Julian Williams. And let's take time out before we get into these fights.
Jermall Hitman.
Let's do this. It's not often that we knock it out of the park on the predictions. We got all the predictions right. Not necessarily how, but we got the winners when a lot of people thought that they weren't going to win. I think the biggest one miss was how Joseph Parker would win. But the experts here, we nailed this one, man. When a lot of people were going other ways with fights, this one was one of them. There were people who picked Charlo, not a lot of them. We both picked Charlo, and for obvious reasons, we thought a bigger guy, a stronger guy, a more seasoned young fighter than Julian Williams. And I think all those things came into play. What'd you see, JP?
That dude on another fucking level. Power included. He just on another level. You know what the crazy part about it is? I saw a fighter who realized with one jab, yeah, I'm going to kick his ass. And that pretty much was it was downhill. Even when Julian tried to get his confidence and start, it's like, dude, if you can't handle the jab, you're not going to handle the rest of this shit. And not saying Julian's still a beast. It's just he went up against a Kraken. And I had to replay in my mind because Charlo, those brothers fight to me at so many awkward times that you forget how either good his brother is or how powerful he is. Because I remember when I saw him hit him with that jab, like, didn't he hit Bundridge with what looked like a weak ass shot, and he rocked the shit out of him?
And you kind of chalked it up to Bundridge's on the old side.
Yeah.
So was the power that strong, or was it just that K9 was that diminished? Then he goes into the next fight against Austin Trout, and you're like, well, remember, Canelo got him with the jab, and then Charlo couldn't get to him. Sometimes it's just
the dude got
certain
power.
guys who think you shouldn't be able to take a punch do, and the people you think could take a punch can't. I think that's kind of what this fight was.
And I'm gonna make a prediction about him. Don't be surprised if he stays at 54 and fights at 60. And next year he's either fighting Canelo, Triple G, or Danny Jacobs. Like,
well, let's see what happens with the Jacobs, Triple G, purse bid negotiations, whatever you want to call it at this point. Let's see what happens with that, because I think that's really going to tell you
where it's going,
where Charlo goes, because he wants bigger names. We'll see. We will see, because if he can't pull a big fight, like, because he called out Canelo, and he maybe Cotto and stuff like that. Those are the names he would stay at 154 for. I think a guy like Andrade is one of the guys that he would. But if Jacobs is there, then that's a guy that you start going towards, I think.
Impressive.
Well, the biggest thing was not only, of course, the jab right away, right? Mm-hmm. What was that, round 2? And he hurt him. And he hurt him good with the jab, which kind of shocked everybody, It shocked me. Shocked you, right? I mean, with the jab. I mean, we both picked Charlo. And we both said he was a bigger guy who hit harder. Yet, we still didn't see that. Because we deemed Williams to be at almost an even level, talent-wise, with Charlo. And he may be.
But not power.
But sometimes they call that the gray equalizer. Well, that's only for people who aren't on a certain level. But when you're on equal playing field, that power is actually the difference in a fight. He knocks him down in the second with the jab. And then every stiff punch that he hit Williams with backed him up. They didn't all hurt him, but they definitely backed him up. And I heard a lot of people saying, well, I thought Williams was getting back into control of the fight. I didn't see it that way. I really didn't. Did he catch Charlo with some big shots? Yes. Charlo ate him like he didn't even notice them. It was almost Triple G-esque in the way he was taking those punches and coming right back with his own counters off of those. He caught and shot, catch and shoot. He was catching him with his face and then shooting back. But the only thing is you can say with Charlo's performance, it was impressive on so many levels. Why? Because he set him up with the jab, softening him up, and then even the counter with the uppercut at the end. He set all that stuff up, and he landed. I think landed punches by the end of the fight were pretty much exactly even. But when one guy seems to be getting knocked back every time he gets hit, and the other guy's just taking it, I think there is a big difference. That's where I saw where Charlo was. I actually gave Williams, I think, the round 3, but that was the only round I gave him. And I gave Charlo every other round, of course, including the last one. And I think that was a little bit more than even what we thought going in, because we thought it was going to be really close. But I didn't see it actually being that close. He was hanging with him punch for punch as far as landed punches, but telling punches, it was so one-sided. I mean, it was all Charlo. You have to be totally impressed with the performance. I mean, there's really no other way. To me, that may be the most eye-opening performance from a young fighter this year, because of the competition level, what everybody thought going into it was, and it didn't seem to really pan out. Maybe Crawford against Postal, how easily he won that fight.
Yeah, but he didn't do this shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was eye opening because like, whoa, I did not expect it. People who even thought Charlo was going to win, they didn't think, well, he's going to knock him out and knock him out early, inside the first half of the fight. Now let's go to what ended up being probably the second most talked about thing, other than the knockout, was the handshake, not handshake, unsportsmanlike, whatever you want to say. Conduct of Charlo. I didn't have an issue with it. I still don't have an issue with it. If it would have extended further, maybe. But when you have a guy like Williams, who did talk a lot of shit leading up to this fight, questioning his manhood, talking about him and his brother. We've said this before. If you go back and different shows we talked about, you never know who you're talking to. Some people will take it as they just selling the fight. Some people take it as, hold on, this is personal. And so when he knocks him out and he's pumped up, and then Williams comes to shake his hand, afterwards, and you could tell as quickly as Williams turned away and said, all right then, and didn't accept it when Charlo went back to him, you knew that as half-hearted as Charlo's apology was, so was Williams' extension of, extending the hand at the end of the fight. You could tell because he backed off it so easily and so fast that it was like, well, you only half-hearted and apologizing because you got your ass knocked out. Because all that shit talking you had to do, you kind of had to suck it up and go, all right, let me go shake his hand.
If sometimes it's deeper than what people see. They kept building it up as they knew each other. They were kind of cool until they realized they had to fight each other. So then, once you start dissing a dude that you already know this dude got attitude. Mm-hmm. You already know he's not his brother you probably could talk to like that. Him, because his brother seems to be like a cooler guy. Not necessarily, he's still a dog, but he won't have the demeanor like, I'm going to kick the shit out of you every time. He spoke to the wrong person and it's like, shake my hand for what? Mm-hmm. Like, this has been brewing for years. So now we cool after I knocked your... Now, if you'd have knocked me out...
Would you have been that cool?
Yeah, like, no. You'd have talked more shit. So, whatever.
And let's be consistent with it too, right? Terrence Crawford, people say, I like the dog that he has in him. As he's knocking down... was it Hank Lundy? It wasn't Hank Lundy. It was...
was it Beltran?
No, it was the Canadian Haitian guy.
Jean.
Thierry Jean. Remember, as he knocks him down, he's talking shit as he's falling.
Yeah.
So we have to be consistent. Was that unsportsmanlike? Well, yeah.
No.
But it's also... No, it is. Yeah. It is in a sense. It is. But this is also the fight game, right? This is boxing. So people didn't have that much of an issue with it then.
Why do you have to be nice to somebody that you kicking their ass? Like, I don't understand. It's a fight, right? Mm-hmm. When the fight's over, that doesn't mean I still like we cool. Some people are cool and some people are not. Some people,
like I said, some people compartmentalize it. It's part of the selling of the fight. Some people are like, no, motherfucker. And you made a good point with they knew each other, right? And he starts talking. It kind of, not in no way am I comparing the fight. So anybody who thinks that it getting the wrong idea, but Ali Frazier, right? Mm-hmm. They knew each other. Frazier helped take care of Ali when he wasn't fighting and making money. Mm-hmm. And then he goes and calls him an Uncle Tom.
Mm-hmm. And that creates a rift.
Okay. Frazier never forgave him, ever. Because no. You crossed the line. We were supposed to be cool. If you want to come sell the fight, that's one thing. But when you get personal, it's another thing. He didn't say, I'm just going to knock you out. I'm a better fighter than you. No, I'm going to take your manhood. You ain't a man. That's a little bit different. And especially when you're a kid. When these guys are kids. They're in their early to mid-20s. They're still kids. People had to realize, when I was in my mid-20s and you talk to me like that, It's on, and there's nothing else about it.
That's the crazy part. It's like, okay, what do you? For one, what do you expect? They're fighters. For two, why would you even ask for sportsmanlike conduct in a sport that has began to be so watered down with everybody trying to be so political? Let the man say, I don't like you. What's the big deal? I mean, and if you talk shit, you back it up. Just thing with Ali. Even Ali wanted to apologize later in life. He was like, because he looked back, he grew up, he got older, and he was like, yeah, that was the wrong approach. But that's what you learn with age. In the moment, even Charlo could be like, back in the day when I knocked his ass out, I was mad as hell. I'm not like that no more. But when I was like that, I knocked his ass. It is what it is. Roy Jones used to say that. He was like, he called his alter personality, don't bring out RJ, because RJ the person that want to hurt you. He's like, I'll beat you up, but if you bring out RJ, that's your fault. So, and let that man enjoy.
Exactly.
Kicking ass. That's what fighters do.
One last comment, and it's real quick on that. The people who are holding like, oh, I hope he gets knocked out next time. And actually, it's a good thing what happened, because it actually got people talking. And actually, people cared about Jamal Charlo, which they really didn't before, right? But all those people say he need to let it go because the fight's over. Then he needs to let it go. Well, guess what? So do you. It's over. He apologized. Accept it or don't, but let it go. Because you're going to have people who are this is going to now shape their view of him. And let's be honest, he didn't break no law. He didn't hurt nobody. He just didn't shake somebody's hand. Let go of it. It's the same people that remember when Ronda Rousey refused to shake Holly Holmes' hand when she got her ass kicked? Oh, she deserved it because she didn't shake her hand. Really? Is that why she deserved it? Because she didn't shake her hand? Really? Those are the things that really, the handshake is really the thing that puts you over the top on somebody.
See, fuck it. This is what happens when you in the United States of America, where motherfuckers give out participation trophies. This is how you grown ass people who got participation trophies. Well, everybody needs to be friendly and hug and kiss. No, they don't. Shit, it's okay. And if that's the case, that means you need to let some shit go in your personal life for somebody that crossed you. Mm-hmm. There's people who are sitting there. You remember in the 3rd grade, that motherfucker stole my pencil, and I'm never forgiven. It's okay then.
The guy who stole my girlfriend when I was in 8th grade, hated that motherfucker forever.
Fuck it, let it go.
All right. Well, I guess we kind of have to.
I know, we're going to speed.
We have to get a little bit quicker. This is going to be a 3-hour show with no call-ins. This is going to be crazy. It's like listening to a filibuster in Washington or something like that, man. On the undercard on that Showtime, Abner Mares gets ended up being a split.
Yeah, it was a
split decision with Jesus Cuellar. I know that's how they say it. I'm calling him Cuellar. Yeah. I'm sorry. Another one that we called, and I put the caveat: if his eye held up, I think he's going. You just flat out, he's going to beat him. And I said, I think if his eye holds up, he wins. His eye held up, he won. He won kind of easily, actually. I thought he was in control. The one thing that I saw that I didn't like, of course, was when Cuellar got him against the ropes. He did a lot of excessive holding. There was a lot of holding. And Jack Reese, who you thought would be a guy who really wouldn't put up with any of that, actually just let him get away with it. It was excessive, but not like Henry Akinwande excessive. But Mares showed why he is a level above a guy like Cuellar, even at diminished state, and that's what we said is his accomplishments and his level is way higher than Cuellar. The only thing Cuellar had going for him was Abner's eye and his size, but skill wise is night and day, and I think he showed it.
The one thing Abner did was definitely put himself in a class of a Hall of Fame fighter, because that's a 4-time champion. So I'm going to say that first. The other thing, the fight could have been closer if Cuellar would have stopped missing so ugly. It started in the beginning of the fight. The exchanges, that was a problem. Because even when Cuellar won exchanges, it looked like he lost because Abner looked like a better boxer even in the exchanges. Even Cuellar had some vicious body shots. Mm-hmm. And that's what caused a lot of that holding in the beginning. Because he's like, I ain't taking this shit. But those ugly ass hooks. And as the fight war went on, it was a little bit less holding as Abner started getting his rhythm. And once he started getting his rhythm, they just separated. Because Cuellar could get some nice shots in, but it didn't look as consistent or crisp as Abner. So it's like, dude, y'all look like on two completely different levels. And plus, and even Paulie said it, that little heel toe thing that slows him down, it's not the first punch that was a problem, it was the second. Mm-hmm. You know? And in some of those exchanges, he could catch him with a good shot, but he got outboxed. And if you look at it, Abner switched up in that fight as he got into his groove. Mm-hmm. Coolest shit was he was working off of that pivot. And he kept, you know, even in some of the exchanges so the middle of the end, he worked off of that pivot. Pow, pow, move. And he had a better game plan. It is what it is. Congratulations.
Yeah, and the one thing when he brought up Paulie made good points. What I'm going to get on Paulie, because I listen to the commentary, which I don't do a lot anymore. And I realized halfway through that fight, this is why I don't like listening to the guy. Because Paulie didn't just point out the mistake. He harped on the mistakes. You see, he needs to stop letting him get in and out like that. And he's doing the same thing. Like, okay, we get it. Paulie, we get it. You would have beat him. We know. Okay? It's like, point out the mistake. Go away from the mistake. Maybe a few rounds later, come back, say he's still doing it. But he's literally saying it like 4 or 5 times in each round. And it's like,
he's hoping.
Let it go.
He's hoping the fighter has an ear like James Toney. Because, see, if you listen to the Paulie, you're the losing fighter. I got that. I'm going to work on that. But if you're not listening, and wait a minute. But he know Cuellar wasn't going to understand it. And you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
He was doing it to make him... Because he did this... Remember when he did that with Broner? Before he was going to fight Broner, remember?
Yeah.
If you make him think, he has to reset. He'd always say that. So that was his whole game plan. It didn't work out so well for him. But that was just my one thing.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Abner Mares. Another one we got right. You're going to notice that there's a theme. There's a theme going on.
Winning in Vegas.
I wish we would have put the money up, right? If I was back home, if I was back in California, I might
have cleaned up.
I might have. I might have made a short trip to Reno or something like that. Maybe.
Cleaned up.
Showtime also showed part of the card. I guess there was 2 fights they showed. I heard they showed the Katie Taylor fight, the girl fight. Nobody cares about that. But Anthony Joshua, KO3, Eric Molina. I think I actually called KO3. Because remember I said it's either 3 or 30 seconds. Ended up being 3. Nailed that one exactly perfect. You called it 5. I mean, that's
ain't really much.
That's called splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Not much to take from it. This was what we thought it was. When I was asked on Twitter, do I think Molina can pose any problem? No. At best, he could sting him, and I said this when we were talking about it. He said, I'm training for the KO, which means he's going to leave himself open. And I think right away he knew the power was going to be too much, and he just didn't have a willingness to engage because he's like, I'd rather get hit with one shot and get knocked out than get hit by a whole bunch of combinations for about 5 or 6 rounds and get beat up, then knocked out.
You know what that fight signifies? Joshua and Wilder have this uncanny ability of old heavyweights that people say, yeah, everybody says he hits hard. I know he hits hard, and then they get in the ring, this motherfucker hits hard.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Maybe you should have worked on your defense before you walked in there, because if you get hit, you're going to remember that shit. Or you're going to forget the fight because it's going to be over. Like, it's Like when people think of Triple G, it's like, this motherfucker can punch. Well, it's kind of on a different level because you don't really see Triple G knock a person out with one punch. You know, but these guys, it's like, boom, like, that wasn't even correct form. That one, it looked like it grazed him. That one landed half flush. These motherfuckers could punch.
Yeah. And of course, at the end, Klitschko gets in the ring. Basically, the first announcement of the fight's going to happen April 29th. I think that's what it is. Okay. What's the more likely thing to happen? That it actually happens on April 29th or it gets pushed back at least one time by Klitschko?
The fight is May 2nd in MGM.
The reason I say that is because... The reason I ask it is because Klitschko is notorious for it. People say, yeah, Fury did it to him. But we know Klitschko he always does it. But I don't think he will because he will have been out of the ring for almost a year and a half by the time that fight comes around from the last time he was in the ring. So I don't see him pushing it back because it really only hurts him more than it hurts Joshua. But early on, well, first of all, are you glad that Josh was finally stepping up to that level of competition? And two, what do you think early on, just looking at it from afar, what do you think happens?
This ain't competition. He was better off challenging Parker. First of all, Klitschko ain't known for having a chin. He gets rocked on... Even in his long streak, which is very respectable, very impressive, he got rocked a few times.
I think Peter knocked him down 3 times in one fight.
So and remember, Peter wasn't a good technical fighter. He was just a raw slugger in a sense.
Who actually got beat by a juiced up James Toney.
That ain't juice. That's purple drink.
That actually makes sense.
I don't think he lied. I don't think he should have took this. Personally, I think he gonna push back this fight and he gonna say he hurt. He gonna pull a Kanye West and his ass gonna
go after Parker.
Yep.
Now here's the thing though. I thought coming out of this, and I guess we can just transition right into to that fight, and we'll get back to the UK card, where Joseph Parker got the majority decision against Andy Ruiz. Or was it a split? It was
majority. One draw.
Yeah, majority decision.
Yeah.
And it was 115, 113 twice, and 114, 114. Mm-hmm. Okay. Joseph Parker beating Andy Ruiz. A fight actually scored a draw. But hey, they won. We picked Parker. I thought he would win it easily. I got to be honest with Joseph Parker, and this is why I think Klitschko would have been better off going the Joseph Parker route than the Anthony Joshua route, because I thought 6 months ago either guy beats Klitschko, but the more that I've seen of Parker, he kind of peaked halfway through the Carlos Takam fight. He jumped on Takam early and looked like really, really impressive. But he had to hang on late. And ever since then, he has not been as impressive. And each fight is a little bit... Now, the competition is stepping up. And so it's going to balance itself out. But I just didn't think Ruiz was a guy who was going to pose that many problems. I didn't think that Ruiz would actually outbox Parker. And for a lot of that fight, he really did outbox him. He was at home. I never saw the punch stats. They had been pretty close. But just watching the fight, it felt like it was an Andy Ruiz fight and not a Joseph Parker fight. Yeah. Just for me. I mean, I've seen maybe 6 or 7 of Parker's fights now. Just from what I've seen, that just didn't seem like his kind of fight. He doesn't fight off the back foot that much. Does he do it sometimes? Yes, but he doesn't do it that much. Like, he was on his back foot the whole fight. I thought Ruiz pushed it. I would have gave him at least a draw, but if my eyes just not scoring the fight, to me, it felt like a Ruiz fight. And I think that's where Klitschko should have went and not the Joshua route. Joshua, I think, lays him out probably within 6 rounds because Klitschko, his thing is he keeps people away from the chin because he's so much bigger than them. He keeps that right hand extended and keeping you off, right? Almost like you used to do with the little kids. You know, you put your hand on their forehead and had them run towards you. But when you got a guy who's just as big as you, if not bigger than you,
he ain't bigger than Klitschko, but he big.
But I'm just saying when he's right there, because he couldn't do that with Tyson Fury, who was bigger than him, who was longer than him. But when Anthony Joshua is right there with you, he's going to get to that chin that you're protecting so much. Can you get to his? Maybe, but what we've seen from Klitschko is he doesn't want to leave himself exposed long enough to catch in return, you know what I mean?
He's going to get knocked the fuck out.
Now, what about Parker Ruiz?
Unimpressed. Unimpressed. Like, okay, outside the pocket, Parker won.
Yes.
In the pocket, Parker lost. Throwing the combinations outside the pocket, you can kind of edge it to him. But once you started countering, that was Ruiz. The issue is basically how the fuck you get walked down the whole fight.
Yeah.
Now it took Ruiz a while to walk him down because he's just not that athletic. And I think that's what kind of swayed everybody because it might have took him 20, 30 seconds, but as the fight went on, he was able to walk him down. Like he was fading to a point, and Ruiz was walking him down a little bit faster than he did earlier. And I'm like, if you were lighter, you supposed to be more athletic, and you keep getting walked down the whole fight. That's why I made it look like a Ruiz fight.
And if you're going to fight off your back foot, if you're going to be going backwards a lot of the fight, then you should be utilizing movement to wear him out. And he really didn't do that. He just kind of
threw some jabs.
And then moved back. And he has a great jab. But you need to focus on the jab. You need to use it more. You need to use it almost like, especially when you got a guy like walking you down like Ruiz. He should have been using that like Triple G did against Lemieux. That's how he should have been using his jab. But he really didn't.
And it screams lack of power.
As he's getting up in competition, it seems like the power is definitely not as advertised. But then again, this was my whole thing with this fight too. I knew round 3, I was like, fuck, this is going to be a long fight. And it wasn't that fun to watch. It was okay. Because you got a New Zealander, kind of Samoan-esque, right? They kind of had that same kind of thing going about them, right? And you got a Mexican. So you know these motherfuckers can take some punches. So you know they're not knocking each other down. You know they're not knocking each other out. So you knew we were going to get 12 rounds of that. And that's pretty much what we got. And it pretty much, after I thought the 4th round, all the rounds looked fairly similar. There were rounds that I edged Parker. There were rounds I edged Ruiz. But a lot of them could have went. A lot of them either way. A lot of them were tight rounds. And I thought it was a lot closer than it needed to be. I'm not as impressed with Parker
as
when I first saw him, and I wasn't that high on him. I thought he was really good, but I didn't think he was the elite level of heavyweight. And I think he's kind of proving it that he's that second level of heavyweight, where he can probably beat a lot of these good heavyweights, but he's not going to beat. I wouldn't favor him against a Joshua. I never have. I wouldn't favor him against a Wilder. I thought maybe he had a puncher's chance with Wilder. I don't see that anymore. The Klitschko fight, I thought about 6 months ago, right after the Khan fight, which is probably about 8 months ago, I thought, yeah, I think he's got a good shot at Klitschko. I don't feel that no more.
It'll be a surprise if it's competitive now.
Yeah,
it'll be a hell of a surprise.
But it's a good thing. This is a good thing because now we're talking a lot of heavyweights. We're talking Wilder, we're talking Joshua, we're talking Parker, we're talking Klitschko, and we're even talking eventually about two guys, Chisora, Derek Chisora and Dillian White, and definitely the fight of the year for heavyweights.
Yeah,
probably the fight of the year in the last 3 or 4 years or 5 years for heavyweights. Really, what can you say? My biggest thing was I hoped that the table throwing wasn't far and away the best action that they were going to have, and it wasn't.
No.
It was old school. I'm going to hit you. You're going to hit me. You're going to hurt me. I'm going to hurt you. And we're going to go until somebody falls. Now, this is the kind of the sadistic person in me. I wish it would have been 15 rounds.
Yeah.
Because then maybe somebody would have went down.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody would have went out. You know, you almost needed 15 for this one, but the punishment that they each took, man, it was just Dillian White gets the majority decision on that one too. Yes.
Yeah, but
Or
he got this is the thing, and I said this before. He got bullied into having a fight, and he can't continue to do that. You know, because honestly, if you look at, he had to come back. But the way I was looking at it, like, do I really? Can I say White necessarily won? In some ways, yes. In some ways, it's like, dude, you got pushed around until you say, I ain't taking these ass whippings no more. And it's like, depending on who's looking, you might have been down so far in the beginning that you lost, but you won. And it's a tell of heart, because both of these guys show heart. And at the same time, I would like to see a rematch.
yes.
And I would like to say, Dillian White, you better establish that you don't get bullied early, because you might get your ass whooped in a rematch completely. It's just, but I took my hat off to him, but it's still like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I guess the way I felt, like even with the Ward thing, I felt it was a draw. I get it either way, but you know what I mean? Like, because it started early with the pushing him into the ropes and banging on him.
Mm-hmm.
And about 6-7 rounds in, I'm like, yeah, you fighting you fight back, but bro, don't you think it's enough is enough? It just scares me because a boxer should not be getting pushed around to the point where he has to say, I'm not taking this shit no more. You should have that mentality early. Like, okay, you did that shit for 2 rounds, that's it.
It was a split decision, by the way. I knew there was majority. That one was, but it was real close. A lot of people think that Chisora won it. I edged it for White. I could see it a draw. I could see it the other way, of course. This was how close that fight was. It was one of those fights that was, do you want a rematch? Hell yeah, you want a rematch. This could be the British heavyweight equivalent of
Nah, that's too much.
what's that?
I hope you weren't gonna say the Thriller of Manila.
No. No, I was gonna say Ward Gotti.
Yeah.
A British heavyweight version of it, which is a little bit lower level. Of course, it's heavyweight, so it's not going to have the action of a Gotti Ward. But meaning that 2 guys who are at that second tier level of heavyweight, who people think they're probably never ever going to get there. Maybe White could, and where kind of Arturo Gotti got back to that level,
True.
where he got big fights out of it. But when you see guys like this go at it, I mean, fights like this actually scream rematch. And if it's good, no matter who wins the fight, you could literally see him having a third fight. You could see him having a trilogy out of it. Especially if Chisora wins, they're definitely going to have a third fight out of it. Even if White was to win again, close, people might scream for a third fight. They're that good. They had him buzzing, man. This is now a standalone fight, as far as I'm concerned, where you could have these guys now headlining the card, where it sells itself. Now, it's not going to be, the pay-per-view level like a Joshua, but they now have earned the right to kind of put the focus on them, because honestly, it was the best fight of the night on that card. From what I saw, man, I didn't see all the fights. I saw Callum Smith and then that one and a little bit of the Clay Yafai Concepcion fight. Definitely better than Joshua Molina.
I know one thing. Both of them better not listen to a goddamn thing David Hayes say.
Well, no, you don't want to do that. Like I said, Callum Smith won. He KO'd Luke Blackledge. Also shocking. Round 10. I stand by what I said, man.
He gonna get his ass whooped.
I think when he steps up, if he steps up against the winner Jack DeGale, I think he's gonna be in for trouble. I just don't like when these guys go from a Luke Blackledge, who was probably looked to be 2 weight classes below him, just them standing in the ring with each other, to a guy like DeGale or Jack.
You know, when you used to talk about Broner, like he's fighting these little guys. And then when he's fighting people his size, the power basically stopped. Until he gets pissed. But he could get discouraged before he get pissed. So Callum, it's like, dude, the shit you doing right now is good for who you fighting against right now. But it doesn't look like it's nowhere near good enough for who you attempting to fight.
And it doesn't look like he's progressing at all. He's pretty much right. He's flatlining where he's at. And when he makes that big step up, could he be one of those fighters who rise? Yeah.
No.
He could.
No.
But will he? I don't think he will. I mean, I think they're just killing anything with him that they could have had with him.
You could rise to the occasion if you have adversity. They putting this dude in there and giving him supreme confidence with no adversity. His first significant piece of adversity is going to getting the shit knocked out of him by somebody he ain't bigger than, he ain't stronger than, and then he's got to think his way.
Got a little Julian Williams effect, which kind of was part of the case with him, I think. Like I said, Kelly Diafai beats Concepcion. Not going to hit on that one too much. I just saw highlights of it. Maybe like 2 full rounds. Okay, he's nice. I got to see more. Was it 115? He's nice, but 115, you got some killers in 115.
He's working his way to him, but it's like, hurry up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you in the mix, but hurry up.
HBO had a card. I don't know if you heard about that. HBO had one.
A little bit.
Well, we kind of hit on the first part that they showed, Joseph Parker and Andy Ruiz. And then the nighttime part of it, Ray Beltran KO'd Mason Menard.
I know.
That's when we thought. And people were like, Menard was a live dog. I didn't see it that way. You didn't see it that way. I thought there was levels to the game, and definitely he showed it. There seem to be extra levels to the game. I don't know. I'll throw it out there. I got to be honest. As soon as I saw the first round, I thought, Beltran's back on that shit. He looked strong. He was strong. All of a sudden, he's got one punch knockout power. Where the hell did that come from at this late stage in his career? You know,
he just did extra push-ups.
You know,
he watched One Punch Man.
He kind of had that Barry Bonds effect. You know, he was a 35 home run hitter, and then he hit 70. You know, just like most people do when they get into their mid to late 30s.
Don't get mad at the hand-eye coordination. Look, if you choke up on the bat, it goes. I got to give him props. 3-0, 3 knockouts, I believe, ever since the loss. Yeah, does he look like he been working out with the old Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yeah, kinda. Do you think that? Maybe. Yeah. Did they catch him yet? Yeah. Now, will I be shocked if they caught him? Not necessarily. Will I be? But can I also say he's still who he is? Like, he's still a dude you do not if you want to take that step up, he might not be the guy that you're going to step over. So I give him props for that because he's still in that lane where he's in a conversation for a title fight, but he's still the class beneath him is the level to get to a title fight. So he gonna keep work. I mean, okay, you know, so he built like a running back now. Whatever. Yeah.
Did he have memo with him? I think he might have memo with him.
And until I see back acne.
Well, he used Proactive, so he was okay. He saw the commercial with the I can't even think of that guy's name.
I forgot it, but
Maroon 5 guy.
Fuck Adam
Levine.
There you go.
I was gonna say Divine. Who the hell is Adam Divine? I don't even know. The main event: Terrence Crawford. He KO'd John Molina. Shocker. Not really. It was what it was. We saw. Well, first of all, John Molina missed weight. He looked disinterested in the fight. He fought disinterested in the fight.
Got his ass whooped. Very disinterested.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like, it was such an ass whooping. It wasn't even interesting. Like it's like you almost felt like what was Apollo Creed's corner man? Throw the damn towel, man. That guy, man. That's how you felt, man. It was kind of sad. It was the Molina that I saw against Crawford. It definitely wasn't the Molina that we saw against Provodnikov. And they're just two different fighters. Like I said, did he earn the fight? Yeah, because he had the win. Because, like I said, if it was Provodnikov, people would have like, I'm interested to see it. We know Provodnikov may have got his ass whipped just as well like that, but we know that the effort would have been there. And that's what we did. When we don't get an effort, then
the weight shit was what started it downhill. To be so close to making weight and then not be able to do it, and it's like, okay, you could say, you know, you tried because it's just that point in life. Then you can also say, by the effort, and you just kind of was like, fuck it. You know, like, because there's a difference between a person who can't make weight and who fights like they were training their ass off, and a person who can't make weight and just like blah, like I'm just here, get my ass kicked. Like, I mean, I guess once he had to pay that fine, he was like, fuck this shit. Yeah.
I got nothing to gain from this shit. The one thing I want to say was HBO at the end pushing for Crawford for Fight of the Year?
Fuck no.
Get the fuck out of here. You know, why don't you just say HBO Fight of the Year? If you want to say that, that's fine. Start separating your Fight of the Year categories into your own shit like the PBC did. You know, start doing that shit. But goddamn, when you say Fight of the Year, it's all inclusive. And no, Crawford isn't on there. Crawford isn't even on the short list. He has a good win. Yes, he does, against Postal. But the other wins, man, it just isn't there. I know they're trying to push an agenda. They're trying to push the Manny Pacquiao fight. And let's be honest. Did Crawford seem really enthusiastic about fighting anybody in the 147 division? No. Even Manny Pacquiao. He wasn't excited about it. He wasn't like, yeah, I want the Pacquiao fight. He's like, well, we'll see, you know, if we can get the terms right and maybe. And what about Errol Spence? Well, he's in a different division. Well, yeah, the same division that Manny Pacquiao's in. Well,
yeah, that's a different size.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know,
but he's never. That's the thing. Crawford is never necessarily. He's not the person to talk to about trying to hype up a fight. Mm-hmm. He's gonna hate your guts when the fight's signed. But unless he's gonna like, maybe not. Do you want to play Monopoly tonight? Maybe not. And it's like,
well, what does he say when you ask him the question? Would you fight Tim Bradley?
No.
Okay, so there's no hesitation there. Why is there hesitation on who you will fight?
I really think he don't actually believe he gonna get the fight until he get the fight. He know who he not gonna fight emphatically, but who he is gonna fight.
Remember the first time they talked about the Manny fight, he said, "Well, I'm not fighting over 140." Well,
Right.
motherfucker, he ain't cutting weight for your ass. You could sell 40,000 tickets in Omaha. He don't give a shit.
I don't think it's about that. The crazy part about it is, Terrence Crawford can say whatever the fuck he want. I don't believe that he don't want to fight Manny Pacquiao. I don't believe that he don't want to be the top dog at Top Rank or just a top dog in general. But what I do believe is he don't think he gonna really get the opportunity, so he don't care. Cause I've never in my life believed a fighter who said I don't want to beat the best.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep being compared to one of the top guys in the sport, and mind you, isn't this how he started with the Gamboa thing? Like he wanted to fight better fighters and prove himself and prove that he was worthy of being a top name. So since then, same thing with the postal thing. I'm gonna show y'all. So you mean to tell me now you not gonna necessarily do some shit? I don't believe it. But I believe he bought into the idea that, man, you're not that sellable. Okay. Well, let the motherfucker who the A side sell a fight. Yeah, because he not gonna fight Bradley. And to point out the hypocrisy in this, if you ask him if he's gonna fight Bradley, he says what?
No.
But what weight class is Bradley in?
47.
He never says he wouldn't make the weight. He just says he wouldn't fight him. He doesn't say, oh, he weighed too much.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
why is that the one thing he's emphatic about?
Like,
I just don't get that. Like, that's the one thing you're very decisive about.
I won't fight my friend. Yeah. That's cool. I'm not gonna fight my friend. Cool. You know, I get the Spence thing. Spence a big ass one.
47.
But Manny, you don't get to dictate rules. If Manny says, I want to fight him at 145, then fuck it. You gonna fight him at 145.
This weekend, HBO Latino has a card also. That'd be in Spanish, obviously. It'll be, I think, on the Ring TV app. So you get to hear it in English. If you have the Roku, like JP has it. Or you just want to watch it on your iPad or something like that, or on your Apple TV, just shoot it over to it. Really good fights. Antonio Orozco's fighting. And the main event is Chingonski by Czeslaw Shabransky versus Soli B. Sullivan Barrera in a really, really good light heavyweight fight and of two young up-and-comers. And I know Barrera lost the fight to Ward, but really, that
don't mean shit.
He ain't knocked down a peg because of it. And I think that's what Chigonski is going to be looking for, is to try to outdo what Ward did against Barrera. You know, that's what he's looking for. I think it's going to be a good fight.
I think Barrera beats him because of the Ward fight. I think he figures out the shit that he didn't do well, touches up on that, and is a different fighter. Well, I'm not gonna say a different fighter, a better fighter than he was before the loss. And I don't think he's ready for that. I just don't, because I don't think he was necessarily beaten or broken by the Ward fight. It was like, I see what I got to do now. I got in there with somebody better, but that doesn't mean
he was outgunned.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say that Shabransky hasn't been in there with credible opposition.
But he ain't been in there with
because, like he beat Yunieski Gonzalez after Gonzalez. Everybody thought he beat Pascal.
Right.
So, Derek Finley. But this is one of those fights. I'm going with Shabransky. We're going on both sides of this. I think Shabransky is a better overall fighter than Barrera. But you're right. Barrera has now the experience level over him. We'll make this analogy a lot of times, right? Sullivan Barrera is the best fighter that Shabransky will have fought at this point in his career. But Shabransky is not going to be the best fighter that Sullivan Barrera has fought at this point in his career, and it's not even close. And so, yes, he could learn a lot from his loss. He wasn't beaten and battered around. So as long as none of his confidence was shaken, yeah, he could have learned a lot of things. He actually could take his game to the next level. If I thought this fight was definitely a 50-50 fight, I would edge Barrera, but I kind of lean that Shabransky's a little bit better of a fighter. I'd say more in the 60-40 range, where that experience could level it out, but I don't think it puts Barrera over the top. We're going to go opposite, so I guess we both can't be right on all the fights this week. We're only talking about two of them, but I'll take Shabransky. I think it's going to go decision no matter what. I think this has decision written all over it, and I actually say majority decision. I like to say one judge has it even. But that's a really, really fun fight, especially at that level of an HBO Latino card, of a Ring TV card. Early Christmas, right? I think that's the gist of it. It's an early Christmas present.
Of all the fights to watch this weekend, that might be the most intriguing.
I think it absolutely could be the most intriguing. Let's go through like I said, Antonio Orozco is on that card. And why can't I think of the other fighter? Roddy Rios is on that. God damn it, I got to come back to
Tapia or Gomez?
That was Eddie Gomez. Is fighting who?
Gomez, Rashidi Ellis. And
these are all really, really interesting fights. Those are two younger guys.
Where is he from?
Coming up.
Because I knew the face. I couldn't think of it.
And then Antonio Orozco is one of those guys at 140 who thought maybe that could be a guy that Terrence Crawford has to fight, because it's very limited. You know what I mean? It's a very limited stable at 140. That is one of the last names at 140. I think that Top Rank has. Golden Boy has. Top Rank has in its stable. Is he Top Rank or is he Golden Boy?
He's Top Rank. You talking about
Orozco. Yeah.
Oh shit.
But it's one of the guys that they actually could make a fight with, because it just doesn't seem yet like he's going to go to Crawford's going to cross over to the PBC side of things. But we want to see Orozco continue to.
It's probably Top Rank.
Yeah, continue to progress, because he's kind of running in place. It seems like lately. So I want to see more out of Orozco, but these are all really, really good fights. Like I said, HBO Latino or Ring TV, whichever one you want to go. We're going opposite. He's got Barrera. I got Shabransky. The HBO card though on Saturday, 3 fights. Jojo Diaz get another shot at the HBO level.
And he fighting a fighter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Horatio. He's fighting a fighter.
Yeah.
And everybody knows who's listened to this show knows I've been a fan for a minute, and he keeps stepping up his skill level. He when he needs to work, get more power. All of a sudden he shows up with it. So this is just another fight that I think he gonna show up and show out and beat a good ass opponent. Mm-hmm. I'm not. This is good. This is a dangerous fight. Don't get it twisted.
And that's what we do. I think at this point you kind of know what you're going to get with JoJo. You're going to get an exciting fight, no matter what. He looks, like I said, he looks to be sitting down. We said this last couple times he's been fighting. Sitting down on his punches more. He's trying to utilize, because he's not a one-punch guy. He's not a guy who has a lot of power, but he's sitting down on his punches, and they seem to be having more accumulative effect than he had been having up until this point of his career. And that's what you want to see. Like I said, it's progression. As he steps up in competition, is he stepping up the power a little bit? Is he stepping up the accumulative toll that his punches are taking on people? Or is he going to be a guy who has to grind out 12 every time? Because he doesn't want to be a guy who grinds out 12 rounds every time. Otherwise, he's going to get old real fast.
I think what he's doing is learning how to crack at the end of the combination. You know, he gonna box you because he's a great boxer, but his combination punches, nice. And after he wears you down a little bit, that third, fourth punch, it's gonna come with some steam on it. You know, but you know, what 17? It's got to be it's title time.
Yeah, it's the other prospects at his level have kind of gotten to that level where they're either right there getting a title shot or have had their title shot. He kind of needs to start to get to that next level. Garcia is 30-1. A tough fighter. He's never been stopped, so that'll say something. If you can stop a veteran fighter, veteran fighter is 26, but 31 fights.
It's a dangerous fight.
Yeah, and the only loss he has was the Hasegawa in Japan. So no shame there. No shame there. So you would think that Diaz should be able to dominate the fight, but what you really want to see is a guy progress and get to where he's stopping these guys when he's better than them. Whether it is accumulation because he doesn't have the one punch power, and that's what we want to see from him. But he's always fun TV. Alexander Usyk opening the card. Just signed with K2 with Loeffler. He just won the title against Glavatsky, his last fight.
You got to come on against
Tabiso Machunu. Not a slouch. I think it's a good defense. You know, a lot of times we see these young fighters get a title and they get a softball thrown at them. This isn't a softball. It's more of a t-ball. It's sitting there for him. But this isn't just like, you know what I mean? He isn't getting Eric Molina. This isn't the equivalent of Eric Molina.
This is t-ball.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He ain't the best, but he's respectable. And for a first title defense, you know, these guys, a lot of times, man, they're taking freaking soft touches after they get the title. And I give Usyk credit because he's not doing that. He's taking, I would say, a bottom, like lower, like top 15, lower end of top 15 cruiserweight. So it's not a total mismatch. It's not a total gimme. Usyk, it's incumbent on him because he's a cruiserweight. They don't get a lot of attention.
Right.
This is even though it is, he's the first, and they haven't shown 3 fights in a long time. HBO hasn't.
But you do realize he's a cruiserweight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's like a crapshoot division.
That's what I'm saying. He's a cruiserweight. So it's incumbent on him to be ultra impressive to make people ask, who was that guy? I want to see him again. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how Chocolatito was for the casual fans, the guys who are just turning on HBO, who like have heard the name but really haven't seen him because you've had to stream pretty much every fight he's ever had. To go, you know, when they saw Chocolatito, like, holy shit, that little dude can fight. And I think they're going to see a cruiserweight who can fight. They haven't seen that in a long time. And because the ones who could, you don't see them on TV because they're always fighting overseas. They're fighting in Russia. They're fighting in Germany, you know. The Marco Hooks and the Denis Lebedev guys. So it's incumbent on him to be ultra impressive. He needs to be impressive. Now, we saw as he's went up in competition, the power hasn't been as strong. He still has power, but it hasn't been as strong. And it's still a question. Like, is it there all the way? Well, we'll see. He needs to knock out a guy like Machunu.
This is a problem. Is he better? Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is that division.
Hey, bud. Yeah, that was a guest appearance by Grandbabies. That's right, Grandbabies, motherfuckers. I'm old. Well, I'm old because I'm 42 with grandkids and I'm Mexican, so for Mexican, I'm an old grandfather, 42. You know.
Pete Patrice O'Neal.
Very.
Up 172.
But we were on Usyk.
Usyk, I think it's a crapshoot. Not because he's not the better fighter. It's because it's that division.
Yeah.
No, the one thing that cracks me about the cruiserweights, it's like they get close to the title it's a certain part of them that get close to the title and they peak right there. And I'm scared that.
Well, he's got the title.
That's the point.
Yeah, you hope that's not the peak.
Cause look, remember, Hook looked good until, and then it's like, Glowacki looked good until. It's like, I don't know.
Usyk seems to be what we see because how big he is. He's so much bigger than these guys. Like he literally is like stretching out 200.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's incumbent on him to be very impressive to where people want to see him.
Yeah, but if he tries to be overly impressive and get cracked on the chin, it's like, oh shit.
And I may be old, maybe 42, but I'm 9 years younger than goddamn the main event. And Bernard Hopkins.
No, you're not.
I'm 9 years younger than Bernard Hopkins, who's fighting Joe Smith Jr. And I'm throwing up the quotes in the air of the final one for Bernard Hopkins. This is simple. We don't know. We don't care about who goes from where before or after this. Does Hopkins win? And is it his last one?
You know what? He did an interview. He says, I have this is my last one because nobody's laughing at me. They're not saying I can't do it. Well, goddamn it, you can't do it. You're going to lose this fight, and then this will be your last one. So I'm putting out the hate that he needs right now.
Well, I don't want to see him fighting at 52. It's okay. My wife coming in, bringing food, bringing leftovers for me, and don't worry, I will get to them. And I think Hopkins will win. I think it will be his last one. But I think this one will be tougher than he thinks because he hasn't been in the ring in forever. I don't think Joe Smith Jr. is that good. I know he has the win. He has the win over from Farah, but I think he caught him early.
You mean Joe Smith is not that good? Yeah. What do you mean?
No, he was good when he played at Golden State. Not that guy? Joe Smith Jr.
Maryland, too.
Yeah. Everybody can hear the whole conversation in the background.
See,
we just go ahead to this.
It doesn't matter.
You know what? Give me Hopkins. Unanimous decision. He'll go out on top. But I think it would be wise to call it quits at this point. I think I think Smith can make it actually closer than he wants it to be, but I don't see much.
I got one question before. Is this fake emerald belt on the line?
That is kind of interesting because if it's not, I'm throwing up red flags on Bernard Hopkins. Because I heard somewhere that he's not having it on the line. Like, I'm not going to have him put his belt up on the line. Like, would that be because if you do fight for one of them offshoot WBC belts, you have to take a drug test? Don't do that. Don't throw the suspicious and don't look like super sharp and not take that test.
Nah, it's just who wants to pay the sanctioning fees for a non-championship belt?
It's not even that much. It's like less than $10,000.
Hey, Bernard's saving his money.
He's saving all his money. We're going to cut it off there. Don't worry. I've been talking big shit about Kirkland and Cotto. I will get to that.
But is Ann Wolf training him?
Ann Wolf is training him.
That's all that matters.
At the catch weight of 153, and I'll be glad to get rid of that fucking diva and Cotto. But I'll hit on that one. Maybe next week before we get into the end of year awards.
No, dude, let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me do this real quick. Yeah, because I am the Cotto fan between us. You motherfuckers with these catch weights. And you started this shit. You put it at 60. Now it's at 54. Now it's at 52. You completely became a hypocrite with the Pacquiao situation. You know what? This is where the fighters fight the fans conversation.
Hold on, man. I gotta do my spiel, man. I'm not happy unless I do my spiel. Follow the show on Twitter, Cheap Seats Box, iTunes, rate and review. Help me out. Come on, man. We give you all kinds of free entertainment, right? I mean, shit. Even when we get the shit wrong, at least we're entertaining enough to make you listen to the whole fucking show. Email us all your end of year award stuff. We're gonna hit that up. We're probably gonna break it up into 2 shows. Take a couple weeks off. So just so you know, that's what's coming up. That's how it's gonna work out. Before we bring our state of boxing addresses like we do at the beginning of every year.
Make boxing great again.
Oh yeah, we are gonna make boxing great again. I think that's all of it, man. I think that is all of it. Now, JP, you can do it.
No, I did it already.
He said this is where the fighters fight and the fans commentate. And we do it just like you from the cheap seats because we ain't buying no tickets, goddammit. Peace, bitches.
Please believe that I'll never be shamed again. Again, I'll be the next heavyweight champion. Call me crazy, but no one can fake me. I'm the